Oh, hey, Alice. Good timing. I got Tandy and Nick from Triangle Fire, all joining me all the way from Athens, Georgia, in a awesome room. I don't know what's going on in there, but it looks super cool.
It's our Wonderland.
Yeah.
Nice. This is a Mad Tea Party. You never know where we're gonna pop up at.
Exactly.
Well, thank you both so much for joining me. I'm really been looking forward to this. So,
Yes.
uh,
So
I caught y'all set at Muddy Roots, and I was like, man, they would be a great guest for this. And then you agreed to it, and I was just over the moon.
Yay. We were
we've
too.
been excited. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, you guys are in the studio recording some stuff. You're still doing vocals on 9 songs, but in 2024, we'll see some of that.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna put a link down below for what you guys already have out now. And then
Okay.
you're playing 40 Fest in January in Atlanta.
Yes, we are.
So definitely, if you're not in Atlanta, definitely check them out. If you're not, still drive to Atlanta to
Oh
40
yeah.
Fest to see
I,
Triangle Fire.
I think it's going to be a 4-day punk fest this year, and
Yeah.
the guy who puts it together, Bill, with 40 ounce booking, amazing. I've known him most of my life, so it's really cool that we're on it.
Yeah, and the lineup is insane already. Who all's been announced, and it just keeps coming. So
Yeah.
Right on. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do. Is there a name for like for the EP or albums coming out? Is it
No, not yet.
not
No,
yet.
none of that's been discussed right now. It's undisclosed classified information. We do not
okay?
know.
Top secret. Got it.
Has not told us what we're allowed to do yet. So,
Gotcha. Well, Mad Frankenstein's in the lab making wonderful disaster monsters.
oh yeah.
Oh
You
yeah.
guys are very high energy. You put on a great show. You know how to move a crowd. Um,
Thank
you
you.
can definitely tell like when artists are enjoying what they do versus when they're not. Not all artists are aware of that, but like an audience definitely knows. You know.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it really helps when the audience is responding as well, because that is insanely nerve wracking when you're putting all your energy and they're just standing there looking at you. And then, it's just, yeah.
Well, a lot of it, like I tell people this a lot of times, it's pretty cool because like since COVID, people don't take that for granted anymore. Like they had a small portion of their life taken away. When you are a musician and or a concert goer, it's important that movement of music matters. And when that's taken away from you, like you get kind of moody whenever you get it back because you don't want to lose it again. So you're giving it your all. And it's really nice to see the world like kind of coming back to that. Like I think everybody got like caught up in a repetition of things, and then like COVID happened and we kind of saw a clip losing, and it was like no, and everybody is just like, dude, they're embracing everything about it now. It's super awesome.
Yeah.
I know we
It,
are.
sorry,
Yeah.
what were you saying?
Oh, I just said I know we are.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, live music is like it's so important. Like what you guys do saves lives. Like I can say that like personally, like without live music I wouldn't be here. It's it's my church and then something like Muddy Roots is like mega church. That's Joel Osteen.
It
Yeah.
Except
is.
way cooler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like going to your heaven. I mean,
Yeah.
truthfully, because you're seeing bands that you never thought you'd see. You got surprise bands. Like, I can't even count how many bands I didn't know who they were until Muddy
Mhm.
Roots. They were amazing. Like
Yeah.
Soviet Dusk. What was the last
Soviet
band?
Shiksa, dude. They're
Holy crap.
they're based
Yeah.
here too.
Are
Here
they?
in Nashville. Yeah, I
Oh
love them.
wow.
I've had
They
them on
were
the show before too. They're
amazing.
great dudes.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
like,
that's awesome. See, and that's what I love too, is whenever like you come across like an artist that's phenomenal and then you get to know them on a personal level and then they're awesome as people, so I don't know. It just sucks really bad whenever
Yeah.
you love an artist and then you meet them and they're an asshole and you're just like, man, Like, why? Why?
Yeah.
It's the
It's
beginning of horrible feuds and bands. Like you think that Ministry, like Metallica thing was like, oh man, that dude's an asshole. You don't know what they did to him. Yeah, he might have stuck his wiener in their cocktail and done some really awful stuff, whatever that dude did. But he did some mean crap to Metallica. But still, you don't know what Metallica did to him. Oh yeah, I do. They stole his beer. They kept drinking his beer, and he only liked one kind of beer. So he was like, "I'll show these assholes." So he went in early and drank all of his beer, and then pissed in all of it and put the tops back.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's what it was.
Hey,
But yeah,
fair is fair.
I agree.
Hey, you know what's funny too is like we don't really have this that issue as much like in the punk scene because like you know your music is it's very like like I don't want to say aggro. It's not like aggressive, but it's in your face and
Yeah,
like I mean I hope you don't take offense at this, but you guys like you have like kind of like you have a very punk image. You're very I don't not not unapproachable, but you get what I'm saying. But then
Yeah.
like I start talking to you guys and I'm like these are the nicest people. And
Oh,
that's like
thank you.
a pretty average thing in the punk scene is like
it is.
There's a lot of great humans
Yeah.
that
yeah.
like you're gonna get mainly like good people and like decent people where you can have single serving conversations at least till you get to know them. But when they're bad, like you pretty much know they're assholes and you don't want to be near them. You're like, no, I don't want to be near that guy. Like
Yeah.
that guy.
I don't know how it is there, but like it's a very like small town here. Like and so like if you got to be nice. Like cuz like
Exactly.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's weird. Our punk scene rotates so quickly. I mean, we have a core group of about maximum 40 people of active like show going people here
Are
in
you
town.
talking about Athens or Atlanta?
Athens.
Okay.
Yeah, and but like our thing is like we have a rotation with the college. Like it's one of the oldest colleges in the country. So like 100,000 plus kids come in and out of here every 6 months. So like
Oh wow.
them come in and they love punk. Some of them come in and they're metalheads. Some of them come in and it's rave music, whatever. I don't know, but like it all is like luck of the draw sometimes with getting a lot of people out. But like the DIY, like it's a really small, tight knit group here. You know what I mean? Some people stay, some people go. We're right near train tracks, so we get a lot of train hopping kids coming from Asheville and all those places. So like about every 5 or 6 years, Athens will have like a 200 or 300 person scene of just awesomeness.
Yeah.
And then
Then it'll
about a
phase
year
out.
away, a year later, it'll kind of fade away. We're due for a pretty badass one, but like there's a lot of great people here in town, but it's not like we're all avid music enthusiasts, not really like a punk scene.
I
Yeah.
You
got
see
you.
what
Yeah. A lot of people, they'll ask us about playing here, and we're kind of like, you know, you have to wait for the wave, or it's truly not worth your time to stop here. You know, like I'd rather direct them towards, you know, somewhere that's within a couple hours from here to where it's not that big of a move for them, but it'd be way more worth their time.
Yeah, and then it's like, and then a lot of times they get like, we're like, no, 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 no. It's not that we're saying don't play here. There's a football game going on that day, and everybody's like, what? I'm like, no, dude. College football in Athens is atrocious. You like, we don't set shows up downtown when there's game day.
Yeah, like we literally have to watch the schedule to know like if we can go to the grocery store and like
Oh wow.
yeah, like gauge when like the time frame that we go somewhere. It's like, oh shit, nope, the game's about to start. We're not fucking leaving kind of deal.
We've held on going like leaving out to go to Murfreesboro before because it's like, oh, it's a noon game. We're gonna wait a couple minutes. We'll leave out in a minute. And it's like, dude, within an hour, it's a ghost town. It's hysterical.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Yeah,
think.
you wouldn't think that. Um, just really quick on that.
Yeah.
We used to host this punk festival here that we called it Up Your Athens. It was like a ska and punk fest. And the first year that we hosted it, it was on a fucking game day. And I did not even think about it because we were kind of still like new to the area. And we learned very, very quickly that was
Yeah.
a no-go.
Yeah. It was still a great
Yeah,
turnout.
it was an
all
excellent
like
turnout,
local.
but
Yeah, but it was very much not what we were aiming to accomplish
no.
with that show.
Gotcha. So very, very hit or miss. You gotta time it accordingly. That's
Yeah, I mean, you got a guarantee of about 30 to 35 people that will more than likely be out, and that's what consists of our like awesome crowd of people here.
gotcha.
And it's our scene, but it's like we're all a little older and do our thing.
I know there's yeah, that's not the worst thing ever. Like I know there's probably some bands here listening to this that are like, "Oh man, I wish I could get 40 people to come out."
Oh
Yeah.
Because it's like it's not, I don't want to say it's competitive because it's not, but like there's, you know, so many things going on any given night that there's
Oh,
like there like I have a calendar. You guys have seen my calendar. Like
yes, yeah.
there's multiple shows any night and I have to kind of think about where I'm gonna go. Because there's, you know, multiple shows.
when we lived in Atlanta, it was, oh my God. It was,
Well, with the Athens thing, we kind of like that used to be an issue with us as well. And everybody used to get really pissy because they're like, where's the unity? And so we kind of like synced calendars and try not to conflict
Mm,
shows, at least like genre wise.
yeah,
So that's a good thing that we do here.
yeah,
So,
everybody really, I mean, that's a good thing about having a small scene in that aspect, and like a very mature scene is we all like it. Like, we don't play very much here, but when we do, we try to hit everybody up and be like, yo, is anybody planning anything on this day? We
yeah.
don't want to plan something if somebody else has a show going on.
that's very polite.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Or we just combine shows.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
how.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
which there's a pretty good DIY spot out here called Red Line, and we actually, the whole idea and premises of it came up, like me and the guitar player singer met at a Triangle Fire show, and we started talking and we really hit it off, and then
Of the band Beat Up.
yeah, and he was like, I want to open a venue, I want to do this, and I was like, okay, cool, let's do it, man. And then COVID hit. Well, while COVID was going on, he was actually building stuff for this venue, like with his free time. And he was what did they call those people that, like what I did? Like where you
Like
still
a
work.
necessity worker or
Yeah,
something
whatever.
like that.
Like you could still work. The essential worker.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
because like whatever. But he was doing all that, and we ended up playing their very first show there, and they're still going strong, booking shows. I mean, like
It's been cool because we've got to slowly watch the evolution of the place because they've like now built a stage, they have lighting, they have an overhang, just small steps, but it's a work in progress, but it's pretty badass. So
and it's outside, and you can camp there if you need to. I mean, it's a cool little thing. It's like a very, 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 very small scale Muddy Roots in a sense, because you can camp there because it's like the size of a backyard. But
yeah,
That's awesome.
But yeah, if anyone's looking for a spot that's awesome to play here in Athens, hit up the Red Line.
Yeah.
You can do that through, I think they have a page, or hit up the band Beat Up. They're the members of that run the venue. So.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to come through Athens.
Yeah.
There you go.
So earlier you said you guys have been performing for like 13 years, I think you said.
Yeah, going on. We've been Triangle Fire for about that long. Before Nick and I, we've been in bands together for going on 20 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
well, that explains why you mesh so well and put on like such a synergized performance.
Yeah,
years in the making,
yeah.
my friend.
Your vocals complement each other very well. I love that you both do vocals, and like the way you do it is so cool.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Like that was an ongoing thing. Like people, honestly, it's kind of funny because they think that we're screaming at each other sometimes. Because like when we were like learning a long time ago how to really get our screams down the way we wanted them, we'd walk through the house and our kids just did their thing, and they're like whatever. But their friends, the first time they heard it, they're like, God, your parents are gonna kill each other. They're like, no, it's not what they're doing. And then they like, yeah, that our kids' friends are like extra family members, so like they ended up living here for most of their like time. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Summer times we have probably like 20 kids living here.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's very, yeah, it's very like a grassroots kind of family kind of scene there, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I mean, we would always just tell everybody, look, don't lie, be like, don't steal, and
Respect
don't do it.
yourself and respect everyone else, and we're pretty much good.
Yeah, and don't do anything that you know you're not supposed to do on the property.
Oh, for sure. I
Don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was like, I don't know how to say that nicely, but there you go. Like,
Yeah. Well, I'm not like a dare kid or anything, but I distinctly remember, and I really appreciate it. Tandy, when you were doing y'all set, you said, no one do any drugs, and if you're gonna do it, be safe. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I appreciate that you did that.
Well, thank
That really stuck with me. I'm like, oh, these are these are good people. And like I said, I'm not like, like dare
Yeah.
anything, but like it is be responsible.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, Nick and I are both recovering addicts. And so like he smokes weed but
that's not
that's
a
it.
drug.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
I'm in a pain clinic, but I take, my medication as prescribed. But outside of that, I mean, we just kind of do our thing. We're not by any means straight edge. We've just kind of are sober living at this time. But we still advocate for like harm reduction,
Yeah.
just all of that, just being safe, being clean, being responsible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just don't do anything that's gonna like fuck up your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
feel you.
but if you are going to, because I mean, like one thing that was always kind of like my thing growing up, and I made a lot of friends uncomfortable, and I lost a lot of friends, but like come to find out, I was kind of always doing the right thing. Is like when I was using anything, I would let them know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, I'm on this, and they would
Yeah.
be like, dude, like, hey man, I'm just letting you know in case like
You never
I
know
fall
what's gonna
out,
happen.
and they would be like, well, I guess that makes sense. It's like if you don't want me to ride with you, I get it, or if you don't want me, like I
Yeah.
understand. I figure I was always respectful. Like I was the weirdest drug addict known to man. I was always like I didn't steal. Like my excessiveness of stealing was walking through Murder Kroger and grabbing grapes or apples, and eating
You
them.
guys have a Murder Kroger too?
Yes.
Oh,
The name.
oh yeah, I watched a couple of people get gunned down out in that
Oh.
thing. Like, yeah, it was bad. Like Murder Kroger was nuts.
Yeah.
Lots of people came up missing in that bitch. like there's t-shirts made for the Atlanta one that says "I survived Murder Kroger" or something. Like,
They're
fuck
fun.
it.
Yeah.
Like it used to be like we have a venue called the Masquerade, and
Oh yeah.
the old Masquerade was an old like cotton
mill.
gin
Yeah,
or something like
yeah.
that. But it was like this awesome old building. But dude, it should have been condemned like 30
Years ago.
Yeah. Motherfucker, dude. Like I remember, I think it was like oh God, I can't even remember who it was, but it was some like crazy ska band in heaven of that place. And everybody was jumping so much, like you feel the floor and you like, I mean, it wasn't a little bit. I'm talking, you're feeling like inches
Yeah.
of movement. It's like the stairs fell one New Year's Eve and
Oh
collapsed.
shit.
But anyway, it was like right around the corner.
Wow.
Fuck it.
So are y'all from Athens?
Mm, I'm technically from like in between Athens and Atlanta. Like this
Okay.
is a small suburb town, but like I tech I grew up in Atlanta. Like
Okay.
Yeah, and I was born in Alabama, like this tiny country, like country town. That's still, when you go there, they're still like stuck back in the 40s. They're just now like upgrading their Walmarts there, kind of
Which
deal.
town?
Valley?
Valley. I don't know Valley. I grew up in Fayetteville, Tennessee, which is right above Huntsville.
Okay.
right where that is.
Yeah. I Southern Alabama, like
Okay.
super.
Gotcha.
And
Closer to Florida.
yeah, exactly.
But right over the Georgia line.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
we moved around so much. I can't really say I'm from anywhere. Because I never like stayed anywhere longer than a couple years. But I've been in and out of Athens for probably about 26 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess technically at this point I'm an Athenian.
No, you're
Yeah. That's like anyone here like that's within like a 30 to 50 mile radius of Nashville, when they're talking to someone out of state, they're just like, I'm from Nashville.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing with like Atlanta. Like anything around Atlanta, people are like, oh, you're from Atlanta. And
Yeah.
it's people from here like, no, there is a huge difference.
Yeah, like they like what is it? The ITC.
OTP and ITP.
Yeah, OTP and ITP. Like they're like
It's
anal
like
retention.
inner perimeter, outer perimeter.
Yeah,
type
in the
thing.
perimeter. And
Yeah.
it's like literally we have a freeway called 285. It's called the perimeter. And like if you're in it, you're from Atlanta. And the kids and the punks in Atlanta, if you say you're from Atlanta and you're not, like, oh, they get pissy. It's ridiculous. It's like hey, whatever.
It's like, yes, dear.
It's like calm down. Like, I think we can find something else to fight about.
I think it may not be the old one you're talking about, but I think Masquerade is where I saw Sarah and the Safe Word a few years ago.
Okay.
I
I
think
love-
that's where I went. Wait, is there one called the
I-
Tabernacle?
Is it the one by Underground?
I don't know Georgia very well, to be honest.
Okay.
Actually, this was in Atlanta though. So
Yeah.
I think it is the new one that you're talking about. Okay,
Okay.
so was it one giant building, or was it like you go kind of underground and there's like separate buildings for like heaven, hell?
I think that's right. It's been
Okay.
years ago. That
Okay.
sounds right though.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I've seen a couple like bigger shows in Atlanta too. I haven't spent a lot of time there, but like I've been to like Coca-Cola Roxy and some of the bigger places. But yeah,
Atlanta's, I love it, but yeah, been
Atlanta is Atlanta. There's good, there's bad. It's just like Nashville. There's good, there's bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Traffic's pretty fucking horrible here, though. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you'll see motherfuckers just shoot another motherfucker just for no reason.
Oh,
You're like, what? And they're just like, and they get in the car and leave.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Be like, you cut me off. Will you flick me off? Yeah. Well,
I mean,
done. Yeah.
damn.
And that's Wednesday.
yeah. Somebody posted a the other day that said like if they look on your resume and say that you're from Atlanta, you should immediately like be considered for any job that has patience, that is easily to diffuse a knife fight. It's like, I mean, the list was hysterical, and it was just some like little old lady walking down the road in Atlanta, and I was like, dude, that's hysterical because it's so true.
Right on. Hard segue, switching gears here. Um, do we have any ghost stories at the table tonight? And when
uh,
I say that, what I really mean, because putting ghost on it is kind of like a statement about it, right? What I
yeah.
really am trying to get to is, do you have any uh like mystical experiences that you can't explain?
Oh yeah. Um, so Tandy and I and our kids and Tandy's father at the time were living in a house in this really small country town, like right outside of Athens, called Winder, Georgia. We rented this house, and it was
It's an old plantation house.
yeah, the
Like,
guy told us it was like at the time it was like 125 years old, something like that.
yeah,
And
like
but the slave quarters in this house were attached to it. So it was really weird because he kept calling it that when we were just seeing a big house. Like
Mm.
we're just, oh, this is plenty of room, and like we can all like sprawl out and whatnot. And he kept calling it that, and I was like, I thought that was a little weird, but
yeah, we were
whatever.
like, dude, what's wrong with this fucking guy? Like, why does he keep calling it? Like, that's fucked up, you know? We
But
were like,
Yeah.
okay,
but then like, I mean, when we moved in, I mean, it is an old house. I'd see like, dude, you'd hear doors slamming all the time. And then like just crazy weird like windy kind of stuff like that. But then like things started getting really weird whenever like my son was in this back room, and we both go into his closet to get like a jacket and some of his shoes because we were leaving. And then, I mean, we both opened the door, and I remember looking up because his shoes were up on the top shelf. Grab them, we put it on. I walk out the room to go check on my daughter, and my son has this blood curdling scream. And I go running back in there, and there's like 3 or 4 wasps. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, where are those coming from?
they
And
were yellow jackets.
yeah, yellow jacket. And he's allergic to them, so he's freaking out. And I'm like, where did they come from? And he pointed towards the closet, and I go, what? And I open it up, and about that time, there's like a yellow jacket nest like falling right there and bust. And I like grab him, and we run out, and I close the door, and there's thousands of these things.
Oh my God.
That's kind of where things started going weird.
Yeah, that was the beginning.
Ooh.
So I'm very like empathic,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
so um I pick up on energies and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm very, very sensitive, and my daughter is the same way. And but at this, the time that we lived there, she was still a toddler. So yeah, so this is where it all like starts getting real crazy.
So like, yeah, so all of that's going on, and like we run out of the house and everything, and it's all like, blah, oh my God. I mean, and these are vaulted like 15 or 12 or 15-foot ceilings. They're huge in this old house. And like those yellow jackets could have lived for a long time. We came back, like we didn't put anything out, we didn't do anything. We came back, and every single one of them are dead,
Oh my
laying on the
God.
just
Yeah, and I mean
mortally dead, like not like,
there was probably like,
I mean, the whole floor was black.
yeah, it was like over 1,000 of them in that room.
So
Jeez.
Yeah,
this is back when I drank a lot. So like me and Tandy would like, and Tandy owned a bar. We worked at it, and it was literally like less than a mile away. So we would walk to work, and then after work we would have a couple of drinks and walk home. It made no, I mean, why get a DUI? Anywho, so we started coming home like super late at night, and the TVs would kind of flicker, and we were kind of like, that's kind of weird. But
well, hold on real quick. To go back to why Nick was mentioning the slave quarter piece, was technically the way that the house was laid out, our son's room was the first room of the slave quarter. And so that's to tie that piece in. So
yeah, and like our dog, where her dad lived, was like the slave, like mass quarter.
yeah.
And like our dog would come into that and like just stare at the corner and bark. It was really odd. But like things started getting weird because like I would go to sleep. I'm and like I would legitimately start feeling hands around my neck. And like I would wake up and start choking. And I'd be like, what the fuck? I would think it was her choking me. Then we started finding out that like whatever it was really liked her and did not like me. Because like anytime I started walking like towards our room, the door would slam in my face.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere. And I'm like,
yeah, and like during the daytime, they had gotten so hyper like active or whatnot that they would literally turn on like the stereo and start playing like weird creepy ass music off of our playlist, because we had like, I had my laptop attached to our stereo and our external hard drive attached to the laptop, and our external hard drive has everything under the fucking sun on it. And they would like pick out some old music and like it would start playing. It got so bad that like I couldn't even breathe in the house, and I would have to leave and sit outside in the yard while no one was there during the day, because I couldn't even go in there by myself because I just couldn't fucking breathe.
yeah.
And we started packing up because we had extended our lease one time, so we had lived there almost 2 years. And our realtor, we were telling her about it, and she's a medium. And so she was like,
how do we find all these fuck people?
Yeah. So she was just kind of like, oh, well, she's like, I would love to come and like check things out. So I was like, please do, cause she was going to come and like cleanse the area and all that stuff. Well, she pulls up onto the property and she barely pulls up to like the parking area, and she gets out and she stands there and she's like, I love you guys, but I'm not going in that fucking house. And she was like, I'll give you some sage, blah, blah, blah. And then she got back in and she hit me up and she was like, look, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I automatically picked up on. She's like, that place is loaded with spirits. And she was like, and they love you, but they are pissed at Nick because they feel that that he's taking you away from them. Because we were starting to disturb the things by packing up to move and everything. So like they were literally strangling him in his fucking sleep.
Like we used to think that like, because I was a drinker, so we were thinking I was having like acid reflux while I was drinking, and I'm sitting there going, no, you don't understand, it feels like somebody's choking me. But like I would convince myself, no, it's not like it, no, it can't be that. Till one morning I literally had like bruises, like one on one side and four on the other, like somebody was legitimately choking. And I told her, I was like, I'm not coming back in this room.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry. And like, we either need to find a house and get the fuck out of here, or like, you need to stay here. I didn't come back. Like, we had a house, we were already like moving, but Tandy was there for the next couple of days and they were like trying to entrap her. They would close doors strategically, like trying to make it a maze.
They were like really possessive. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what tends to happen, is they isolate one person and try and cut them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, so turns out like our drummer right now, Joseph, lives like,
oh, is that the one that is he the dude that was at Muddy Roots?
Yes. Yeah, he lives
total
like
badass. Complete badass.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, especially to be visually impaired
Oh
too.
yeah. Joseph is quite amazing.
Yeah,
He was in the pits too, man. Like, yeah.
Oh, he
I
kicks
know.
ass.
He's
I
He's a
talked to him briefly. Super nice dude.
yeah.
we love him to pieces. But so he lives like maybe a half a mile from that house. And the
Okay.
way we come from our house to his house, we have to pass the old plantation house every time. And
Dude, I still get shivers up my
yeah, I
spine.
look
I'm getting
over,
shivers just hearing about this. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
like my teeth are chattering. But I look over at the fucking property every time, and it stayed vacant for like probably 5 years.
Yeah, I bet it did.
Yeah, they bought the place because they've been there for a minute, and I guess they're dormant or whatever, or they don't pick up on them or whatever, because no one would stay there that long. If
Dude,
yeah,
We
I mean,
asked
there's
my
just no way.
buddy, like we asked a friend of ours, like, and we since have found out that he is like very empathic and things like that. We didn't really think he would pick up on it because he was a heavy drinker as well. And we asked him if he wanted to make some money and paint the house for us.
Yeah, because we were trying to get our deposit back, but we were trying to not be there as much as possible.
and we were like to make so and so and go paint the house. He's like, fuck yeah, I'll go do it. Dude, he was there one day, painted everything, and we pull up and he's sitting outside in the front yard, like in
Because
the
he doesn't drive, so we just left him there. We like dropped him off with everything and left him and said we'll come back tomorrow, blah blah blah.
yeah,
So
and he was like, okay, cool. He's like, I got, we left. I mean, their power was on, everything was fine. We came back and he's sitting in the front yard. He's like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with this house, but fuck this. He's like, if it needs touch up paint, piss on that shit. And he got in the car and he goes, we are out. And I was like, really? You felt it too? He's like, no, fuck that place. He's like, your shit is painted though, dog. Give me my money. I was like, all right. He goes, why didn't you tell me? I was like, well, I mean, how do you bring that kind of shit up to your buddy? You know what I mean? He's like, well, I guess you're right. I was like, I mean, what if you wouldn't have picked up on anything? Then I would be sitting here going, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm overreacting. And he's like,
yeah.
oh, like that place is crazy. I was like, all right, cool. It's not just me.
That's wild. I've done like 150 of these interviews, a little over, and that's one of the craziest stories. I ask everybody that. That's one of the craziest stories I've heard.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
I mean,
Wild.
that was our biggest thing. I mean, but like I said, I'm very like empathic and sensitive, and so like things like to follow me, or like so everywhere I live, there's energies, and weird shit happens. We're just used to it, but I have to constantly cleanse the house and everything, like constantly, or it'll get overwhelming anywhere we live at.
Yes, and since our daughter is really empathic too, and our what would Lexi be? Our niece?
Yeah.
Our niece was like, we didn't know, and she was messing with a Ouija board, and we didn't know she was messing with one, and I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't think anything about it. I'm like, if you don't understand something, don't use it. That's all I told her. And
Yeah.
he's just like, dude, I'm gonna do what I want. I'm like, okay, do what you want. And I mean, I'm not here to stop you. And I think she freaked herself out, but it also freaked our daughter out. And like, she was out like trying to bury it in the front yard. I'm like, you're like burying a perfectly good board game. I'm like, like this thing's evil. I'm like,
she's like, you don't understand. Blah, blah, blah. And we're just like, whatever.
And I was like, I do understand what you mean though. And she was like, no, I was like, I get it. I was like, I haven't felt anything or seen anything, so I cannot vouch for it. That's like I would talk to your mother. I was like, but no, like I get it. Like nobody's gonna think that I believe you. How about that? I was like, just knowing that somebody like believes in what you're believing, I got you. And she was like, okay, cool. So like, all right. I was like, take a deep breath. Now dig up the Ouija board. Let's go play.
That's good parenting because you're like, if you're like, no, don't ever touch that, then they're just gonna go do that.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah.
Well, I know our niece, like, I mean, she scared herself half to death. Like, she called her parents. They came and got. I was like, they're like, why would you let her play with that? I'm like, why would you not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a
I
Ouija
was
board.
I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and I was also homeschooled. Uh,
Oh.
so until the point that I turned 18 and moved away,
Oh,
um,
holy
I had no peers or friends outside of my church. Like, yeah,
gosh.
I literally like I moved out when I was 18 and I knew nobody. Like I knew
Wow.
nobody. And like that's I really mean it when I say like live what you do is very important. Live music saves lives. Like without the music scene, like I started going to live shows and that became very in a very real way like my spirit that my community, like my spiritual place, you know? Um
Yeah.
It was your
and
church lacking.
I'm sorry?
It was the church that you were
Yeah,
lacking.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, like so like growing let's just call it what it is, like growing up in a cult, like I had I like when I turned 18, I was very much like annoyingly an atheist, like like obnoxiously so. And like I was always interested in the occult, but in a very like superficial, like hot topic, Tim Burton kind of way. Like I
I
didn't
get that.
believe I didn't believe in it. And like me and my partner at the time, we kind of had a phase of like, well, let's fuck around and find out. Uh, and I had never experienced anything strange as a kid. Um, but like when I went looking for it, it found me. Like if you if you look hard enough, you'll find what
Oh
you're
yeah,
looking for.
Yes. Yes.
but you got to be prepared for what you find.
Yeah. Tandy, did you ever have anything weird happen when you were a kid?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just I mean, honestly, I know that like this is kind of like whatever, but basic, if you will, but just constant like cupboard board, the doors opening and shutting. You just see things. I can feel energies, I can smell them.
Hmm,
Just stuff like that.
You
I
still,
gotcha.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, no, I mean, it's still very much relevant as an adult, but like just as a child too. But um, trying to say that, as a child, be like, oh, I heard this or that, nobody believes you, or I saw some shit, they're like, oh, it's okay, the boogeyman's not real, or whatever. But
Hmm. I
um
yeah.
my heritage is very dark and secret, but come to find out, like, I have a very strong witch, um like, background heritage type
Hmm.
situation. So like that is very
Yeah.
much present with me, like my genetic makeup, or whatever, however you would say it, um or like spiritual makeup.
Sure.
um, that sounds good.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know how to say
I've
it,
heard
but
it
yeah.
called witch's blood. Like I think I
Yeah,
had it right the first time. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I very much have that, and so it kind of skipped a couple generations, but yeah, my mom was really cool about things. Once she started opening her mind up, she was very much like, oh yeah, you
Hmm.
know. So
Yeah, my mom's a very open witch.
yeah.
Like
Hmm.
very, like I was raised very much in, like she was never like, my mom was really cool because she was like, she would, she was that parent that answered everything with a question. It's like, well, is there a God? I don't know. Is there? It's like, I'm asking you, like, and like what the hell? And then
That's hilarious.
but like I remember like specifically like all the time looking over at the tabloids and like I would get my questions from that because there was always outlandish shit on it that I never really understood. And I'd look over, I'd be like, can a man really have a baby?
I was about to say, or Bat Boy.
Yeah, and like my mom would be like, it depends what you said, but like things got real serious once. It's funny because like so the Notre Dame, like the world is ending thing, I finally saw one of those. Oh man, that fucked me up.
Wait,
Oh.
saw what?
Like on the tabloids, it was like the Notre Dame, the world is ending in
Oh,
5 days.
like 2012. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like the oh, it's happening now, and they got scientific proof. My adolescent mind, like adolescent, my ass. I'm like 3 or 4 years old, and I'm going, what? I look at my mom, and she goes, what? Like, I mean, all color goes out, and she'll tell you this story. She's told it to Andy a couple times, like all color goes out. She goes, Nick was no longer a child anymore. He was a man, and he went, a lot of things I still need to do. We gotta go. She's like, oh. And he's like, and I'm like pointing at the tabloid. I was like, the world is ending. We gotta go.
Let's get on it. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Son was insane. Like, but yeah, like my mom was very fun to grow up with. She's a very interesting lady. Like
She really is. To look at her, you would never think it, but she's pretty demented.
yeah, and like my than me, so like I'm 42, so she's 54. So like she's growing up in a teenager right when hair metal and punk and grindcore and all of that shit is coming out. So it's like my one of my tapes that I got when I was a kid was Napalm Death. Like my sister bought it and was like, "This is garbage here," and threw it at me, and I was like, "It ain't me. This
Fuck
is a man."
yeah.
So
Yeah.
like,
Nick is like, this is gold.
yeah, I'm like, why would you do this? This is amazing. But my mom was always like, she's a horror movie junkie. So like I remember going and seeing like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th in the theater when my mom was like dragging me along, like nobody looked at her. We're going to the movie. Horror movie. It's so different. But yeah.
That's very different from how I grew up. Like I was very sheltered. My parents
Yeah.
never they're my parents also I'm third generation Jehovah's Witness. So like my parents grew up very sheltered too. So like I've had like I'm 27 now and I've had like so many more like experiences than either of my parents like have ever had. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And like we were very me and my sister were very sheltered growing up and like I think that created this appeal for the darkness like
Yeah.
like we always like whatever you're not allowed to have as a kid it's like that's what you want.
Well, that's taboo at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get that. Yeah,
Did
like
you sorry, go ahead.
our kids were always really funny because we were like, they would ask us, they would just be like, well, what do we do? I'm like, what do you want to do?
Yeah. Like there was nothing that was off the table with them. You know, everything was open as long as it didn't hurt them or someone else. We were like,
I mean,
cool.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Like, we'll do a trial run and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think
So,
in theory that's what makes America so awesome is like the idea of America, right? Like it doesn't always pan out that way, but like
Yeah.
um like you as long as you're not hurting anyone like do what the fuck you want.
exactly. I
Yeah,
mean,
it sounds like you guys are doing it right. I bet you're cool parents. uh
yeah, we try.
Well, our kids are now adults. We're actually grandparents. We have 3 grandchildren.
no way, that's awesome.
Yeah. So our daughter is 19 and our son is 24.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
24.
24. Yeah. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. So
Those are grandparents. That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
it
you
is.
rock this hard. The
Yep.
coolest fucking rocking grandma, grandpa ever.
Yeah. Love it. We
Yeah.
actually just got to take our middle grandson on Sunday to a thing that Athens does. This is the fifth year they've done it. It's called Porch Fest. It's where like 200 artists get to play between the hours of 1 and 7. And so you just kind of like all over downtown Athens is pretty much blocked off. And you just go from one porch to another, or like people's front yards and stuff, and people are just playing. There's music everywhere. So like
That's
we got to,
awesome.
yeah, he got to see a like Irish ska band.
Hmm.
He got to see, what would you call beast mode?
Just fucking metal, man.
Metal. Yeah, which that one he liked the best, honestly. He was, and then we took him to see like they're kind of like a poppier punk type band.
It's our garage punk band, man. It's
Yeah.
he. They've
Yeah.
been around just as long as us.
Yeah, and then a band that covers pop punk songs. Yeah, and so that was all kind of cool.
How old are your
But
grandkids?
they are 3, 5, and 7.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
That's awesome. Did you grow up with religion, Tandy? Were your parents religious?
Very much so.
Okay.
Southern Baptist.
Okay.
My
Gotcha.
dad was partially like Irish Catholic.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was a very big mix of things. And yeah, so I grew up in the church. Um, I am fascinated by religion,
Hmm.
but I'm not religious.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm very spiritual, but I love learning about all different religions, and I kind of take a little bit of here and there and everything of like kind of what resonates with me. Like, okay, I can get down with that, and I'll kind of adopt it into like my my
Yeah.
world or what.
It took me a while to get here, but I have a very healthy respect for like the Torah and the Quran, and yeah, it was because of my upbringing. Like I very much like pushed that away, but like at this point, it took me a while to get there. But like I have a friend, shout out to Danny Burgess, the I can't remember the name of his channel right now. I'll put it in the description or something. But he actually can read Hebrew, and he's very much so like a theologian, very serious. And he's been on this show several times, and like I like the Old Testament, like the Torah is the most profound, amazing document like ever created, in my opinion. To the point where I'm like, I don't even know if people made that. Like, it gets really crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we could talk about that for hours, but
Yeah.
Well,
I
is there a way
so
to get an English translation,
I'm
or is
sorry. Would
there
you
a
say
way
that?
to English translation so you can like read it and get close to the translation, or does it have to be uh translated in Hebrew?
There are like more accurate translations, like the King James is like pretty much like the farthest thing from it. There's a lot
Okay.
redacted, taken out. Then there's like very like literal translations that are like when you translate it into English, it's like hard to understand because some things don't translate. Like whenever people are translating scripture, um, they take a lot of liberty because it's like, well, this isn't gonna sound right if we just say it exactly the way it is. So
Yeah.
there are like very literal translations of scripture. But what's interesting about the Hebrew language itself, like ancient Israelites, first of all, understood these things as metaphor. They understood these things as parable. They knew that it wasn't literal. That's a
Yeah.
very recent concept. But not only that, the Hebrew language, their numbers are the same as their letters. So if you're an ancient Israelite and you're reading these scrolls, you're seeing numbers at the same time that you're seeing letters. So yes, you could do this with English. This is called gematria. But you could do that with English, but you'd have to sit there and say, okay, A is one, B is two, C is three. But if you're an Israelite and you can read Hebrew, you're just seeing these things at the same time. Like you're just processing multiple things at the same time. And the thing is, there's a lot of number codes embedded in it, like
Yeah.
sacred geometry, like crazy stuff. And so like it's like, what is this story talking about? This is weird. The Bible starts getting like, what are they talking about here? It's because it's a number pattern. It's a story, but that's not really what it's trying to tell you. It's coded information. There's this thing called Kabbalah, is kind of like Hebrew esoterica,
Yeah.
and like if like I've talked to a lot of like Christians, and one thing I will say, my upbringing wasn't all bad, I should say. Like I have really great parents, and one thing I really do appreciate is, unlike some sects of Christianity, like we actually grew up reading the scriptures, and that's something I'm finding out, like talking to other people, is like I don't even call myself a Christian, but like I know more about this than Christians do on average.
Yeah.
Not all of them, obviously, but I'm finding the same thing with, like, I know like practicing Jews as well. And it's like the Kabbalah, like the Hebrew mysticism, you actually have to be initiated into, and you can't do that unless you're a man and also over 40. So a lot of practicing Jews don't even understand the concepts we're talking about right now, because it's actually kept from them. Now, with the internet, all of this is accessible. It's why all these cults are diminishing, right? Like Scientology is down to like 30,000 members, where they still claim they have millions, but it's like all of these things are shrinking. Freemasons, Jehovah's Witnesses, it's all going away, because we have the power. Everything's accessible to you, which is a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. Um,
And a dangerous thing at the same time
Sure.
too.
Yeah, the age of information ends up being like an age of misinformation, because you don't know what to believe. It gets really
Yeah.
weird. It's a weird time. I do not envy, like it was a weird time for my generation. I really don't envy the kids coming up now,
Oh,
because that's
they're gonna be so jaded by birth. I mean, they're gonna come out going, "You ain't my mom." It's like,
yeah. And unfortunately, I think I hope not, right? But I think we're headed into some very dark times. Like recent events make me feel that way, but just, like since like 9/11, or even going further back. But like we're headed into some dark times, I think. And I feel bad for the people that were robbed at a chance of ever having a normal life. Like for example, I'll probably never own property. Like maybe I will, right? Maybe I'll save up a bunch of money, make a sum of money and buy a house, right? But like most people my age will never have that unless something changes. Um, like these kids coming up now have been robbed of a childhood, in a lot of cases, and it's really depressing. It is I grew up with like end times in my head, right? Kind of like
yeah,
your Nostradamus story.
yeah.
But like, I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. But now I'm kind of like, maybe mom was onto something, because shit looks like Revelations. It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't discredit anything because that's the whole point. Is it's a belief, and that's what I like. I mean, I like Tandy. I mean, I very much try to understand and like study religion. I will not say I'm a religious person by any means, but I do think that like I try to be a good person in general. I try not to like if I do anything to hurt anyone, I only want to hurt myself because at the end of the day I can control that and I'm not hurting anyone else. Like I would prefer to hurt me than anyone else. But like a lot of the like in the Bible and stuff like that, I mean all of the things that they're trying, the main points that they're trying to get across are just be a good person. And I can get with the positive pieces of a lot of this because all organized religion, I mean, they like respect yourself in a lot of aspects, but then like you have some that are still very much sexist, and it's like it's
Yeah,
all about men, and then it's like, well, I can't get with that. I'm sorry, I'm just not all about that.
I
We
totally
lit
agree with you.
Yeah, like we literally got up, and the last time I was in a Baptist church, because I would actually like take the kids every now and again, like we would go as a family, even, whatever, just trying to give them the option to like explore religion and see like what they believe, let them, make their own belief
Because like
foundation.
our son was very much into going to church, wanting to explore that avenue, and we were like, okay. He's like, y'all are okay with that? We're like,
Of
yeah.
course we are.
We're like, we want you to be able to express yourself any way you want.
Yeah,
So
we want you to have the knowledge to make your choice on things. But the last time that I was in a Baptist church, we got up and walked out because the preacher was talking about, just bashing gays and this and that, and how it was just evil and this. I mean, he was just going like nasty with it. And
and
we
then they
literally got up and walked out. And I've
Mhm.
never been back into a Baptist church since.
Yeah, like
And
they were passing around a hand thing, the ballot or whatever it is, to help with the protest march against gay rights, and I was like,
yeah,
So
I was
I was
like,
like,
yeah,
I
we're
got
done
up, I
here.
was like, no. And even my son like looked at me, he's like, can we go? And I was like, we were going with or without your consent, or
Yeah,
you're gonna make things a lot easier right now.
Yeah.
yeah. You can believe whatever you want as long as it's not like infringing on other people's autonomy. Like, yeah,
It's their
totally with you.
like that doesn't affect anyone.
Here's the thing, right? Is like, um, you can have like secular progressive versions of any of these faiths, but you have to let go of certain things. And that's kind of what we're seeing, in other areas of the world right now, where it's like, um, where the I don't know, it feels like a lot of people, still have religious values, but we've come into a new era of like, we don't need these parts. And like, there are in every religion, people in the fringe groups hanging on to these archaic systems. And like a lot of the time, it's like um, a very good friend of mine, her family's from Iran, and um, she was explaining to me that a lot of people there, obviously not all of them, but a lot of people there are taught to believe that women are not people, that they're actually animals. So it's okay to treat them like animals. Like that's literally, and here's the thing, right? Like I understand cult mentality. Like if that's all you ever know, like not only is that all you've ever been taught, but you are going to be punished or exiled for not upholding these values. What do you do? Like that's such a hopeless situation to be in. Like you literally don't know any better. If everyone around you and that entire like culture is that, then like there's you I have problems with like just as an example, and not exclusively to this, but like radical Islam, not the people doing it, right? It's like not the people practicing it so much, because I'm like, they literally don't understand. They think they're doing something good. They literally don't understand. But
Yeah.
you can still be mad at the system. You can still be upset with, yeah,
Yeah,
with shitty ideas. And that's something else I'm noticing too. Like everything is a cult, dude. Like politics is a cult. Like it gets
oh,
outside of religion. Like it's like I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. Like really, dude? Because I'm a human being. Like I just think for myself. Like you do you though.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're saying the very much a lot of the same ways I feel like the pharmaceutical company is a
Mm,
fucking cult because they can
absolutely.
everything. Like without the drugs, the doctors can't push it. They can't make their money.
Oh
And
yeah. Yep.
it's all a big like oh
I mean, they're literally like, yeah, they're literally drug dealers where it's like
Oh yes.
they're government drug dealers. They get paid money for pushing these drugs on people, even when they don't need them. They still get a paycheck for that. Like that's yeah, it's so fucked up, dude.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so like yeah. I've had a couple of weird little like incidences with like random thought processes and meeting very odd people through my time. I'm a mechanic. So like just the people I meet through time are just random. But I remember meeting a old DEA agent a long time ago.
Oh
He
wow.
drove some like weird European car or something, and like my dad's shop was the only place I like to get the stuff done. Well, he was telling me, and this is probably like 89 or 90, and he was telling me, um, yeah, the DEA, I mean, we just go around and we like arrest a bunch of people like that have a bunch of money that look like drug dealers. We liquidate their estates, hopefully find the drugs, and then we use that as a station point to build an operation and find the actual drug dealers. Then they don't even put anything in an evidence. They literally turn it around, give it to other drug dealers or to moles to start the whole process over again. I'm like, so there's no like trail of any of these drugs? He's like, no. He's telling me, dude, like at any given time, he was like hauling kilos in the back of his car with a get out of jail free card in his wallet. I'm like, what? What? None of this makes sense.
Wow. That's wild, dude. That's what a what a fucked up system. It's
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, that you know like I think people are just really tribal by nature. Like and you know that's fine when we're talking about it's like I stick by my team, my football team, regard
yeah,
win or lose, but brother, I'm with my team. And it's like, yeah, that's fine when we're talking about a game. It's not fine when we're talking about how to run a country or the nature of the universe as a whole. Like that's not so much a good idea anymore. You kind of have to. I have a saying that I've said a bunch on here. Like I'm dogmatic about anti-dogmatism, like open-mindedness as a rule. Like
it should be.
yeah,
You should be made to think outside the box.
Yeah.
yes, yeah. You should be challenged. And honestly, like if you have firm beliefs, you that's when you the most should challenge them. Like
Yeah.
stack them up against opposing ideas.
Yeah,
That's something I think is also like my generation and the one coming up now is like really lacking in that area where it's like um I think this way and anything else is wrong. And I'm sure there's, you know, other generations have this problem too. But yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think every generation poses its personal like its demeaning traits. Because I mean, our generation's so like stubborn and like gung ho to get everything done for the most part.
Mm.
And then I don't know, y'all's generation, your generation's a little different than mine.
I don't know. I think everything has its pros and cons.
Yeah. You're right. It's
Yeah.
yeah. It's not special. It's always been like this. Yeah. We
Every
yeah. So given everything we've talked about so far, so I want to preface this by saying like no one knows. No one on the planet actually knows the answer to this question. But there's a lot of different ideas about it. And it's something I think about like very often, like intrusively so. Like I don't even want to think about it that often. But what do you think happens after we die? And again, no one knows, but does anything make more sense to you than anything else?
Um, I kind of like I sway with this one. And I think I'm on the same boat that you are as far as like I think about it way too much. Like to the point where I get very anxious. I can't sleep at night, like yeah. Um I have my things that I want to believe. I have my things that sound more logical, but then I have things that like I've said before, I feel energies
Hmm.
too. So like I have, I guess, my version of proof of,
Intuition. I think intuition is a good that we shouldn't count that out. So
yeah.
like I didn't mean to cut you off, but like so what do you feel about it?
What do you mean?
That's a good.
Oh, like what do you feel happens after like if you had to trust your gut on it?
Damn.
It's a
On
hard question. I'm sorry to I know
Yeah,
that's very difficult.
I think that it kind of boils down to your spirit, your soul, like
Oh, yeah.
how you are is like what happens next.
It's
Like
not one answer. It's several answers.
yeah, like what
Yeah.
is, each individual person, like what is their next realm, I guess.
Mm.
Like what
Next destination.
yeah, their
Yeah.
next nation, if you will, like are they done, or do they
Mm.
have like more lives, more places that they need to do to evolve? Do they just, I don't know. What do you think?
It's everything and anything in between. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I know that's such a vague answer, but it's so fucking complex too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes sense in my mind because, like I said, I think about it an awful lot,
That makes
and
total sense to me too. Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's probably something like that. It's dependent on your energy, maybe your decisions too.
yeah,
And like it could be nothing. And maybe the people that feel like the answer is nothing, maybe that's what it is. And
yeah,
if you feel like it's something, maybe it's something.
yeah,
Well, I hope it's like my fear was it's always going to be like I don't know, you might remember this, but old TVs, the big TVs, when you turn them off, they would go boom, and you could watch
Yeah.
it like go down and out. I hope it's not like that. Like it's just
Mm.
like boom and
Yeah.
done. But I really think it's like a displacement of energy.
Mm.
Like it it's not it can't be answered and it can't be described because it's too much happening.
Okay.
Like, I mean I just think I don't know if there's anything I'm not saying anything like that, but I mean I do know that I feel things like when I've held animals and like been next to my father when he passed away and like her father passed away on our front porch and like I
Oh
mean
shit, man.
it's like you can feel a displacement of energy. You can feel a change
mhm,
Mm.
in the world. Like there's things that are different. And like
Yeah.
that shouldn't be unnoticed, but I don't think that we're capable of even processing energies and stuff like that because our body just we're like our mind can't do that. We're not capable of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for Nick to finish, but I also think that it has something to do, kind of like what you said about, what your beliefs are, also how big your energy is, or how big or small it is. Because I have actually like when people pass away that, like Nick just said, we're in the room with, or when it happens or whatever, or like we're super close to this person, sometimes, you can still feel them around. Sometimes they're just gone. People that you would think that I would think I would still feel are just gone. Like I don't feel anything from them anymore. But then there's other people or other people's energies that I still feel come around, kind of deal.
Well, that's like,
there was actually
which one?
Our granddaughter was playing with a cell phone in our kitchen, and she took a picture of Nick. She calls him Grumpy. She took a picture of Grumpy, and and whatever, and then yeah, life goes on. So I get her phone, and I'm going through old pictures because I was kind of like trying to find some old ones to send to their new phone, because they were my son's in the army and they were stationed out in El Paso. So we got them new cell phones so we could FaceTime them. And I was sending old pictures there so they could have pictures of us that they could remember, because they're remember us in our times together, because they're still really little and I didn't want them to forget. And I came across this picture that she took of Grumpy, and I was staring at it and I was like, oh my God. I mean, I couldn't fucking breathe anymore. My dad was right next to Nick. You can see his face. It's like a big smoke type thing.
It looks like a glare, like if you take a picture like towards a light and the light glare. Whoa. But it was his whole
him.
Face.
And like Nick said, he passed away on our front porch. And I even showed the picture to my sister. I was like, the next time she was over, I was like, I gotta show you something. And I showed it to her. I didn't tell her anything about why I was showing it to her. I was just like, look at this picture. And she looked at it and she started crying. And she was like almost hyperventilating. She's like, what the fuck? And I was like, well, what? She's like, dude, she's like, that's not cool, Tandy. And I was like, no, what? Playing dumb. I wanted her to tell me. And she was like, dude, that's fucking dad right there. And I was like, okay, thank you. So wow. Like, it's stuff like that that makes me, really, that kind of explains the vagueness of my answer of like, it really just, it depends, I think.
Well, like this, like, so my dad, he fought cancer. I think he ended up beating it 8 times and finally lost it on the 9th. But so like we had this really horrible meeting, like the whole family comes up, and as you can see, I'm the black sheep of the family. So like my dad is
relatable.
My dad's always he was always the voice of reason with everybody. Like, you leave him alone. He's doing whatever the hell he wants to do. Like, y'all should just leave him alone and whatever. But like, we're all sitting there, and like the doctor comes in and just kind of tells everybody, yo, he's dying. Like, it's moved to his spine, into his brain, blah, 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 blah. My dad looks at me like everybody else is freaking out and crying. And I'm like, he looks at me and he goes, why aren't you crying? I was like, well, I mean, you've been going through this for a minute, Dad. So I was like, I kind of said my goodbyes a long time ago, and I've just been very thankful for every other day that I've had with you. And he was like, what are they trying to tell me? And I told him, like, in his way of what was going on. And he told me, he goes, because my dad was an ex-drug addict too. And he goes, so I don't need to worry about getting strung out anymore. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, because like rationing with his pain meds because he didn't want to get addicted again.
Yeah.
But he needed his pain meds because of everything he was going through. So he's like, worry about getting strung out, right?
And I was like, no, Dad. But like, he was pretty much Like he was already half in a coma anyway due to like just all the infection and whatnot. Well, he like, he finally got some sleep that night. Well, Tandy and I are driving home at like 4 in the morning so I could go to work because I drove out to Atlanta every day and it's like an hour. It's an hour solid ride with no traffic. But we're almost home. We're about 15 miles from home, and me and Tandy are driving, and there's this shooting star. And
Whoa.
that was the day that like
The night he passed away, like
no, the night that we told him about this, and he finally got sleep. We're on the way home so I can go to work, and there's a shooting star. And I was like, "Did you see that?" And she goes, "Yeah." So a couple of weeks go by, I think it's 3 weeks, and they move him to a facility a little closer, and my dad passes away like about 3 or 4 weeks later in that exact same spot. The night he passed away, there was another shooting star that was twice as long and twice as bright.
Whoa.
And it was clear as like the day was long. Like, I mean, it was so bright. And it had like this weird staggering edge. And then, like, right after that, like one of my dad's favorite songs came on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And it was because Nick and I, like, we both saw them both at the same time. And we both, like, felt the same thing at the same time. And we told his dad about the shooting star because we were like, dude, we were just, trying to think of positive things to talk to him about and stuff like that. So we told him about it. And then so it was just really weird because we were in the room when he passed away and we were both actually had just gone to sleep and I felt him pass away. Like I shot straight up out of the fucking seat and I just like yelled for Nick. I was like, Nick. And yeah. But
That's amazing.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like, it's things like that that make me know the most punk rock answer I want to have. There's nothing, man. Fuck you. In too much to say nothing.
Oh, for sure. I'm listening to you guys. My laptop's about to die, so I'm just plugging it in real quick.
No,
I know you're good.
I guess this outlet doesn't work. I'm gonna try a different one. Okay, there we go.
Don't die on us, Argentina.
See, like laptops, what happens? They just die.
Yeah.
They're
Oh
just
shit. I hope this works.
Positive thinking. Positive thinking.
Oh shit. For some reason this charger's not working. Give me 1 second, guys.
See?
Shit.
I mean,
It was working for a second. I think there's a short in it.
oh, that sucks.
Oh, um okay. I don't think it's working, so we're just gonna ride it out as long as we can. I will say, when I reach for my charger, it's so weird. We were just talking about how weird the universe is sometimes. I was reaching for my charger and pulled this out of my
Oh,
backpack.
random.
I put it in there and I haven't. It's been in there the whole time. And when I pulled my charger out, this just came with it.
Oh,
It's so crazy.
see, the world's trying to make sure that, like, I'm a firm believer that I think the universe is trying to keep the right people together. I
Yeah,
think
man.
we're capable of building a utopia, but they're giving us the tools to make it better.
Ooh, it's
But we just got to be able to pay attention.
Tandy, I don't know if you missed that or not. I reached for my charger earlier, pulled it out of my backpack, and when I did, this came with it. Like this came
Oh,
out.
yay!
That's what I said.
That's awesome.
Like that's been in my backpack the whole time. I probably like just forgot about it, left it in there, but when I pulled my charger out, that came out.
That's
The uni-
ironic.
and it's really funny because of what we were talking about, right? Just like the universe is paying attention. The universe is listening to us.
Oh,
Um,
I truly believe in that.
yeah. I didn't get my charger working, but we're just gonna ride this out until it dies, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. um yeah. The universe is crazy. I don't think anyone really understands what's going on. There's a Hunter S. Thompson quote I really like. He says, I learned a long time ago that reality is far stranger than anyone's imagination. And
Yeah,
I think that's so true.
yeah, it really is. And that's crazy that you bring that up. Nick's not here. He'd be shitting himself. But Hunter S. Thompson, Nick, I mean, is one of Nick's favorite authors.
Really?
So, oh,
Me too.
yeah.
We do a book club for this show too. We read a different book every month, and then we do a live stream. I just get a bunch of random people together.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sure,
cool.
I'm sure we'll eventually do some Hunter S. Thompson, so I'll hit you guys up when we do.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Um, yeah. Let's see. I did a podcast last night, and I put a bunch of beer cans in here with my laptop, and I think that was a mistake. I think I shorted out.
Oh,
Either I hope it's the charger and not my actual laptop. It
yeah.
says I've still got 20%, so we got a little while. But yeah. Yeah. Life is crazy. We I've met so many cool people like you guys just talking like this. This is actually a good way to meet people because we're having like some serious conversation.
Yeah. And bringing up topics that, like, people don't typically like to talk about. But I think that there are certain topics that I think should be necessary, or, needs to be talked about.
Yeah. A lot of this is uncomfortable for people.
Yeah.
Like
He was saying that, well, he quoted Hunter S. Thompson, and I was like, that's ironic as well, on top of the patch thing. And then he was saying that, like, they do a book club for here, and
yeah.
every month they read a new book and come live with a group of people and talk about it.
Oh, that's cool.
And so whenever they do, Thompson will hit us up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to have you guys on for that.
Oh,
This month we're reading The Vor, which is like a fantasy novel. It's pretty crazy. Next month we're reading the second Wizard of Oz book, uh, the Marvelous Land of Oz. So looking forward to that. I'm sorry.
I said that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have you guys back, even not for the Hunter S. Thompson one. Anytime you're interested, I'll just keep you updated with what we're reading. The the Marvelous Land of I'm also super open to recommendations. If you have any book recommendations, send them my way. I'm always looking for new stuff to read. So
We'll totally do that. I read.
hell yeah.
Yeah. What style, like, what kind of topics do you like? Or are you just open for anything?
My like I live in the epic fantasy, like Tolkien, Game of Thrones. That's my shit.
Okay.
But we do everything for the book club. We've done nonfiction. We've read The Prince by Machiavelli. We did Art of War. We actually last month we did The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Maria Kondo, which is just about cleaning your room and like feng shui, but it was super cool. So we'll do anything. Yeah, I specifically like because I read fantasy novels. I write fantasy novels and poetry as well. So like that's my realm. But like I actually go out of I do other things on the book club because I normally wouldn't read that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I mean, if you're all like, if you're going to do something to explore other things, don't like always try to go outside your comfort zone, because if you don't, you're never really expanding at all.
Oh, for sure. And I'm so glad I have. Oh, it is charging. Oh, thank God. I was just reading. I'm an idiot. I'm so stupid. I was reading it wrong. Okay, yeah,
Day,
so we're good. That's good news. Yeah.
our day.
I turned when I saw it started to die, I turned the brightness down. And then when I plugged it in, the brightness didn't come back on, and I'm like, oh man, it's not working.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we're good. But yeah, no, it's like you said, you got to challenge yourself. Go outside your comfort zone. Um, art, like I'm just a fan of the arts, man. Like I love um like romance, thrillers, different genres of music. Like my playlists are crazy. I'm sure you guys have a very diverse.
Oh
Actually,
yes.
that's my next question. What kind of music did you grow up listening to? Like what was in the house when you were a kid?
Okay, so for me, it was oldies and doo-wop and Motown, stuff like that. And then when I got a little bit older, when I say a little bit older, I mean like elementary school type, the latter part of elementary school, started getting into like more punk. MTV was very relevant back then, but awesome. 80s music, and then like hair metal. I got to watch the like beginning of metal and punk. Well, not the beginning of punk, but punk in the mainstream, I guess. And the beginning of rap and hip hop and all of that. So, because I was born in 78.
Okay.
Um, I got to see all of that. And like Nick and I kind of giggle all the time because I think we're the last generation that lived before the internet and technology. We got to see the beginning of it. And then now we have enough life, we're still young enough and everything that technology and the internet and everything is very much prominent in our lives now. So that's why, like, when I messaged you earlier and I was like, I'm so old school that I have to like double ask, because I'm kind of in that limbo, like it can be either way with me.
See,
So
you used to pay for the internet by the minute.
yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh, I
So like
remember
if you forgot to log out,
Mhm.
your parents would get a bill for like $900.
Yeah, I
No
did that.
way.
Called dial up. It was not internet, it was called dial up.
Right. I remember dial up when I was a very wee lad.
Yeah.
Very wee lad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what all I grew up listening to, and I still listen to all of that and then some. I mean, I will listen to anything. I like almost anything except for I can't really get down with like techno stuff that has the same beat just over and over forever for like 20-minute songs kind of deal. I'm not really crazy about that, but other than that, I like I just like art. Like I can hear music in almost anything too. So
Very
I
cool.
don't.
Yeah, you had a lot of diverse stuff in the house in your upbringing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hip hop's really big for me. I listen to a lot of hip hop. Um, and it really did like it got started in the Bronx. Like that's where it all starts. But then nowadays you got like not even just nowadays, like in the 90s too. Like you got East Side rap, you got West Side rap, and then like there's the Dirty South, like 3 6 Mafia.
Oh
What
yeah.
my favorite rapper right now, he's called I Don't Know Jeffrey. He's from Memphis, and that shit is so good. Like Memphis rap is on fire.
I've
It's so
heard
cool.
that, but I haven't heard anything by them.
Yeah, I'll have to send you something. Yeah, Jeffrey is awesome. It's actually all he ever raps about is pimping, and it's very not good things to do. but the music is so good though. It's like it's like so. I mean, bad behavior is kind of part of rap culture, but like,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. Dude, that's amazing.
See, I think that all that shit, it's not offensive to me. I don't get offended very easily. I don't get embarrassed very easily either. Like I'll get nervous and blush and stuff like that, but like I don't get embarrassed.
yeah.
Like how your parents would be like, "You embarrassed me," or whatever. Like that's just not. But but I don't get offended the same way. But I like. So what am I trying to say? I like that style music too. I see the what am I trying to say, Nick?
There's an art in it. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you. I see the art in it. Thank you so much. But my preference is like the more like poetic.
Like Nas.
Huh?
You like Nas?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
like Nas and like I love Tupac and I think
Yeah.
fucking just a genius, like a lyrical genius.
Immortal Technique.
Yeah, Immortal Technique. Uh who was it that Sage Francis that played at fucking Muddy?
Oh, I missed that.
Oh my god.
Awesome.
Yeah, he played the wood stage.
Okay.
He is so fucking smooth and just so like profound.
Yeah, he's a modern day prophet, man.
Yeah. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Nick? What'd you grow up hearing in the house?
Oh Jesus. The oldies, doo-wop, stuff like that was a for sure because my dad owned a car shop, so like I mean was nothing to listen to the Beatles and then the Temptations and stuff through the car shop. My mom was a little bit more of an old hippie slash Southern rebel kind of like person. So she liked Creedence Clearwater Revival and Pink
That's my shit.
Yeah. So like I was always listening to shit like that with my mom, and she loves like the Police, stuff like that. And then my sister was a teenager during hair metal and when like metal was getting like really heavy. So like my first show was White Zombie and
Okay.
and then she was into, like I said, like I mean she was into a lot of hair metal and like Megadeth and stuff like that and thrash. So like any tape she didn't like, I got. So like
Yeah.
she just, this is crap. Like the Napalm Death like show. So or the Napalm Death tape, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, dude, I have so many random things that like most people are like, there's no way. And my mom and my sister all straight up. So yeah. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Like they used to take me to go see, like I saw Guar. They dropped me off to go see Guar. Same with Tandy.
Yeah.
Like just like 94. They at the masquerade and I come back like covered in blood and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What happened? They thought I got jumped. No, I'm good. I'm good. This all fake.
That would have actually been easier to explain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really hard to explain. No, they squirt blood and shit. Like my are a lot cool about it. So like I could only imagine like any other parent in the world. Like my mom looked at me when I told her about this. She goes, I want to go next time. That sounds completely crazy. She's never seen Guar, but she loves Guar. She absolutely loves Guar. So
that was
like,
my first time at Muddy Roots.
oh really?
Really?
Yeah.
I have to say that we've seen Guar probably, oh God, I don't even know, countless times. That was a unique show for them because it was outside and all of that stuff. So it was kind of restricted for them. But yeah, that was kind of cool for us because we've seen them so much, and we got to see the behind the stage situation on that particular show. So that was like really cool for us on that one. But yeah, Guar's awesome. We've like I've taken my sister to see Guar. We've taken both of our to see Guar. Yeah.
One of our old bass players, no, he did that to Richie Ramone. I thought he proposed, but no, he proposed to Richie Ramone.
Yeah.
Speaking of proposals, one of my, I think probably maybe my favorite thing at Muddy Roots was Bridge City Sinners. Like that,
Oh,
I had no idea about Bridge City Sinners till that set, and I'm like,
oh,
holy shit!
oh, they're amazing.
That was
Okay.
some dark, like you talking about like being an empath and like picking up on shit. I'm like, oh, y'all are real. Y'all are
Yeah.
real about it. Like this is real shit.
Yeah. I love Bridge City so fucking much. The first time I got to see them live was okay, so I stumbled across this band, and it's you know, like we were just talking, we love doo-wop. And you know, I love like I think the satanic religion is a beautiful thing. It has a lot of like art and stuff like that. We've actually been to the
Satanic Temple.
yes, up in Salem, and we like Nick and I actually sat there and talked to the guy for hours about
Anton LaVey?
huh?
Anton
No,
LaVey?
the guy that was running
Oh,
the
gotcha.
but
Okay.
we were to them about, you know, because we got to see the Baphomet statue, the one that they're like moving around to like Arkansas and stuff like that. That's in the big court battles. I don't know if you know much about that.
Oh,
but
yeah, yeah.
Talked about everything, and you know, they were explaining to us like what they're about. You know, they're not so much as much about like worshiping Satan as
About
they are,
self.
yeah, about equality too,
Yeah.
or about rights and stuff. You know, and they like to do the whole shock factor thing about like obtaining equal rights for other religions, believe it or not. With the shock value, kind of like, oh, well, you're not gonna let like the Jewish whatever do whatever they're trying to do here. Okay, so we're gonna bring in our satanic stuff, blah blah blah. And people are like, oh, no, no, no. And they're like, and all of a sudden the Jewish situation doesn't seem so bad.
That's beautiful.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's
like,
so beautiful. I love
yeah,
that.
it is. Yeah, yeah. They allow themselves in like how much they're hated. They use that for the good.
For positive change.
Yeah.
You could say they're doing God's work.
Yeah.
They're doing the devil's work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I stumbled across this band one day that mixed Satanism with doo-wop called Twin Temple.
Okay.
And I fucking fell in love. My life changed. And I was cooking dinner and listening to them. And Nick comes home and he's like, what in the fuck are you listening to? And I was like, what's going to change your life is what I'm listening to. Like, he's like, okay, whatever. And and I was like, you have to watch this video. And I'm like, watch this. And he fell in love too. And so we went and they like came to Atlanta, and that was their first time that they got to headline a show. And Bridge City Sinners opened for them.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and so we got to see them both, and it was just like, oh my God, it was magical that night. Yeah, I mean, it
well
was
put.
just, yeah, they both put on flawless, I mean, just big energy, big everything, flawless performances. And yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I'll have to check them out. You said, what were they called?
Twin Temple.
Twin
It's
Temple.
And
they run a satanic
yeah,
church
they
in
run
LA.
Yeah, like they are like the legit shit.
like they're legit Satanists. Like they're 100%. They practice what they preach, kind of shit.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Which
Yeah.
is like, okay. I mean, I'm willing to listen. It's hysterical because like so many slaps against like just organized religion. Like I don't like organized religion at all, but like
Yeah,
I like.
same.
I'm very much like, um, I had a teacher tell me a long time ago, and it stuck with me. It was like it used to like it was a class called Contemporary Issues, and basically all we did was read the newspaper, and he was like, "So what do you think that means?" And basically, like he would help you decipher the newspaper of what the bullshit they were telling you, and he was really good at it. And I've always been very much a conspiracy theorist. So yeah, I'm always like, dude, screw that shit. They're out to get us, blah, 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 blah. And like he always loved what I would say about it. Always, everything I would always say about the conspiracies of this and that. And he was like, never trust anyone that can keep a secret from you.
Mm.
I'm like, okay, so that's everyone. He goes, you might think they're being nice when it comes to the government, but he's like, trust. And then the one thing he said to me that like always got me, he goes, question everything.
Yeah,
And I have ever since.
that's exactly right, man. It's yeah, I'm just my only real strong political belief is that I hate the government. I like they've never done anything for us.
No.
And they've everything they try, they fuck up. Like they're
Oh,
completely ineffectual and also our enemy.
no,
Um,
yeah. I tell people all the time, I'm like, you know what? I'll vote the moment a person who works 40 hours a week, paycheck to paycheck, is the person running.
that's so, dude, I love that. That's great. Like,
Because
yes.
right
Yeah.
there, gonna know what we need. Not asshole that fucking makes $1 million a second, like sitting on his ass.
Mhm.
Gonna be the person who works their ass off and doesn't have anything to show for it.
Yeah.
My producer, the guy who edits this show, he's usually here. I wish he was here because he would love you guys. Um, he's like hardcore anarchist, which I'm not. He's converting me, but I'm not quite there yet. But something he said to me very similar to what you're saying is like any president, any sitting president we have should live in government housing because then that government housing will be fucking phenomenal. It'll be
Yes.
Yeah. Be top
yeah,
notch housing. It wouldn't be rat infested, roach infested fucking nastiness.
Yeah.
yeah.
And maybe accessibility to it wouldn't be nearly as hard.
It actually blows my mind. Like it actually is hard for me to understand that people are still doing this left right game as if it's not two puppets of the same entity. It's like,
Yeah.
how are people still falling for this? Like,
Yeah.
Well, I said something to Tandy and it was super funny. Have you ever seen the John Wick movies?
oh, I love them. I haven't
Okay.
seen chapter 4 yet, but I've seen the first three.
Well, like I told Tandy, I was like, you know what's funny? She goes, what? I go, that's our government. There's always a guy at the big table that
Yep.
we don't know who it is, but they run all of it.
I think that's right too, is as much as I hate the government, I think the more we dig into it, we're going to find out they're just following orders.
Mhm.
I think
Oh,
quite honestly, like this is real tinfoil hat shit, but I think it goes bigger than people, whether that be
uh,
aliens or whether that be extraterrestrial aliens or like interdimensional spirits, you know.
a
I
good
think
point.
it's some kind humanity's being interfered with.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we're being
Yes.
played and manipulated into like we're a test subject.
Yeah.
we are a virus to the earth.
Yeah.
Bottom, we are what COVID is doing to us. Like, we're doing that to the earth.
Yeah. I really like, I'm very much like, this is actually this like falls in line with a lot of Satanist concepts, but I'm very much like I'm a humanist. Like, I think people are good. I
Yeah.
think we live in a sick world that makes people sick and do bad things. But like, and there's exceptions, don't get me wrong. But like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
people as a whole are good and they don't want to hurt each other. So
Yeah.
the fact that we have the problems we're having now, I'm like, that's not organic. That's not natural.
No, those are manifested from something.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm among like minds here, so I don't sound crazy. Okay, gotcha.
You
No,
don't
no,
sound
no.
crazy at all.
No, I mean, because I mean, as proof of that, you look at kind of like the way you grew up, isolated away from things. Like without the corruption of the outside world, you were allowed to live like sheltered, if you will.
Very much
Like,
so. Yeah.
or innocent, you got to keep your innocence for longer. Same with, you know, I watch really bad TV.
God damn.
Like really bad. And it's something that I can listen to at night and try to, because I have like clinical insomnia.
Mm.
So, but I don't want to take meds for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm already on so many other medications, it's terrifying. And so I try to like find things that I can like dumb out to. And there's some show, and I could not fucking tell you what it's called or even what app it's on, but it's this family and they live on a farm and they have like, I want to say like 7 kids or something like that, but they are so cut off from the outside world. They don't have TV, they don't have, and the kids, the producers and everybody, the TV people asked them, questions about it, and they were like, because they're like, do you know who like Michael Jordan is? Just people that everybody fucking knows who they are, and they're like, they're clueless, and they are not affected by it, and they are so like, that family is genuinely happy, and you can tell that it's not like produced for the TV show because you're working with like children, and they are just so just like carefree and just, I mean, they love each other, like all these siblings get along flawlessly. They're best friends, all this stuff. And I'm sitting there going like, at first I'm sitting there going like, oh my God, that's disgusting, and I'm like thinking about these parents, not like disgusting like that, but just kind of like almost like cult minded,
Yeah.
in a way, like what kind of warped shit are these fucking parents trying to do? But then I started like actually thinking about it, because I'm the type of person where I put myself in I try to think about every single angle of things, put myself in their shoes and their shoes and their shoes, so I can understand the whole of the situation and not just my initial fucking thought process on it. So I can try as open-minded as possible about everything that I can be. So I started like overthinking about this, and I was like, that's actually fucking awesome, because like they get to have what other people don't get to have, and they're not corrupted, and they're not fucking poisoned by fucking society and just all the bullshit that everybody thinks they need. Like, oh my God, I can't live without this stuff. I need it. No, you really fucking don't. I don't know. It's just.
Oh yeah, I agree with you.
A box.
I grew up near like an Amish community, and like a lot of them seem pretty happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of like Amish shows and stuff. And I know that it's kind of like counterproductive to watch it on TV.
Sure. Yeah.
Because like the TV.
Well, we can learn still from that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it just seems kind of like intrusive, invasive, that like the TV are going into their world, bring the outside corruption into their innocence.
Mm.
But again, it's kind of cool because like we get to see, like what you just said, we get to learn from them, or we
Yeah.
get to sit back and be like, damn, that's pretty fucking like pretty primal and like simplistic and
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, I think part of the reason we have like depression and part of the reason things are hard for people right now is lack of purpose, like lack of meaning. And if you're just trying to make it, like you know what your purpose is, like to provide and like, but like there's a lot of people that are lost, like they don't know what to do with their lives because we don't have to like go hunt and gather every day. So it can
Well,
get difficult.
well, that
Yeah.
leads me to this a point I was gonna bring across. It's like a multi-point, a lot to do with the entire like this entire conversation. So, have you ever read the Unabomber Manifesto?
Ted Kaczynski.
Read it.
No, I haven't. I'm familiar with some of his. He's like anarcho prim. He's very.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
I
need
haven't read it though. To answer your question, maybe we'll do that on the book club, or maybe not.
we know it's perfect.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is it's a multi-part on all of this. You get into his head. He writes down his entire manifesto of exactly what he thinks is wrong. He is 100% right on everything we're in right now. He foreshadowed it in 1980.
Mm.
He 100% said we are 100% going to be right where we are. And the problem, a lot of the reason of our depression and a lot of reason of our self-worth issues is because of machines.
Mm.
Because we have out thought ourselves in the aspect of making things easier by making machines do it. But what we've also hasn't we haven't taken into accountability is for every machine, that's two people's jobs that are lost.
Yeah.
So your worth right there, people are like, and this sounds messed up, and I don't mean it like that. You have now made the ability for people to think about their self-worth.
Mm.
We were like, when back in the 40s and 50s, people, it wasn't that the people weren't depressed, people just didn't have time to think about that shit because they were making money for their family, or there were like they were making money to go out and party, they were doing this, they had this process of things to do that kept their mind off of things. You see what I'm saying? So
Kind of like what you were saying, the hunt and gather thing.
yeah, it's not really that you're hunting, but you're doing something.
Yeah.
Because what is that saying that like all of our grandmothers used to tell us when we were
Idle
young?
hands.
Idle hands
The
is the devil's playground.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
But like in a sense, that does make sense when they're saying it like that, because when you are at idle, you are thinking crazy stuff. But like Ted Kaczynski even goes as far to talk about that in his manifestos, that the bigger problem is that machines are going to take away our work, and we are going to lose our sensibility of who we are as humans and become dependent on fabricated things that we cannot explain.
Yep.
It's like, how much more fucking true is that? And I used to tell Tandy, I'd be like, I 100% am like loving this book. Like I've read it.
He would give me cliff notes.
I read it 3 times back to back. I loved it so much.
Nice.
And literally, I told her, I was like, I just don't agree with what he did. And then I'd all
Sure.
done with what I said. And I went, I take everything I just said back. She goes, what do you mean? I said, I don't know if I don't agree with it, but I'm second guessing that now. And she goes, what do you mean? I was like, people have been killing in the name of God
Mm.
for thousands of years. And this man is killing people that are doing everything that's happening that I can physically say has happened. and he has 100% foreshadowed it, and he tried to take these people out. This is some straight ass Terminator shit. I was like, this shit I can't even fucking process. I was like, this man went back in time or some shit. But like, no, it's a good read, and it's really disturbing how accurate he was. It's terrifying.
I think we might have to do it on the book club now, and then I will definitely hit you up to come on and talk
Oh,
about it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it either, but like I said, Nick would give me cliff notes. Like he would read something, he'd be like, "Oh my God," and he would tell me. And everything that he told me, I was just kind of like, "Damn."
like
Makes sense. Yeah.
I read it, and I'd be like, no, these are his words. And she was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Did you watch that? Like, because he was one of the only people that passed that crazy professor's test at Yale.
Oh,
Like that
really?
was mind control stuff. Like he passed. He was one of two people.
Oh, so I knew he was very intelligent. I didn't know like he was like a super genius. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
well, so there was a professor at Yale or Harvard or something that was like there's a documentary on Netflix about this, and they go really big into this, but like he had something to do with the CIA or the FBI, but like I mean it was legit shit. Like I mean it was like complete mental breakdown of character. You completely lose all self-worth. You basically break down the brain to stop feeling emotions
Mm.
completely. Like not like I don't feel anything. Like you legitimately don't feel anything.
Mm.
Pass.
Yeah,
And the other dude that passed killed himself like a year later.
damn. I know, yeah. Like not only is it like a lack of meaning and purpose, but like everyone I know knows how to use a cell phone, but I don't know anyone that knows how to make a cell phone, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we
Oh
like to
yeah.
think we're so smart, but like like studying ancient text, like looking back on it, it's like really there's people are very dismissive of like they're not as smart as we are today. And it's like, no, the people that wrote that, like the ancient rabbis that wrote the Torah, are on
Really,
a level of intellect that I literally don't even know if people wrote that. I'm like, that is divinely inspired or that's aliens. Like,
I agree. I firmly agree. But yeah, I I God, we could go on that.
Yeah.
yes. Oh, I think sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we've been going for almost 2 hours, so we could start wrapping it up. But I would love to have you guys back. This has been such a great conversation, and like I said, like I think about this stuff like all the time. Like me and my friends, this is what we do in our free time, is we just talk about this kind of shit.
So do
So
I.
I would
Perfect.
love to have you guys back, either for the book club or just another, maybe to promote when you got new music coming out. We could schedule something around that.
Okay.
Yes.
That'll be awesome.
Tandy, Nick, thank you so much for being here. Check
No.
out Triangle Fire. Go to 40 Fest in Atlanta. Keep
Yes.
up with what they got going on. And right now, as soon as you're done watching this video, go click the link below to listen to what they have out already.
Ah,
Um, you guys are great people. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
We have had an amazing
I'm glad. That makes me happy.
time.
And Alice, we'll see you next week.
Bye, Alice.
bye, Alice.